Hey, beautiful, radiant beings. How are you? My name is Michelle, and it's a full moon in Virgo. And I want to just very briefly talk about what that means and talk about the medicine that I feel like this full moon is carrying. Something really interesting that I've noticed is that I've noticed, but I was researching the astrology of these full moons, and every full moon since November has been at 0 degrees. 0 degrees is the first sign of the zodiac, so they all have like 30 degrees, which means that we spend about a month in each sign. So what that means is the zero would mark the initiation point or the initiatory point into the sign. And I see that as a cycle of energy of a series of beginnings from November. I've noticed a big energy shifts in September of 2018. And so from November, December, and then the last one will be in March, which will be really like the fall season, winter season to the spring equinox. And so just really being mindful and aware of how these cycles are opening and closing and these chapters begin and end, I think is super important. So today we have a full moon and it's a super moon. It's the closest that it'll be to the earth all year. It's very cloudy where I live, so I don't know if I'll be able to see it. But I did wake up this morning at like 4 in the morning, just very alert and very awake. And I feel like that's a collective consciousness awareness of just an energy shift or a portal. And so, what came to me, I know everybody speaks about the different signifiers and the different symbols and the energy that these full moons bring. And for me, what I'm noticing, and I'm always drawing on my own experience from what I have recently gathered. And I noticed, especially in Colorado where I live, everyone was sick like last week, a week ago. And to me, that symbolizes purification and an energy shift that is preparing us for the time that we're about to enter into, which is the equinox, because these equinoxes are really beautiful, big choice points and big shifts. So the Virgo full moon is a time, Virgo is a symbol of purification, and she's symbolized by the virgin priestess. And the virgin is not necessarily a woman who is chaste or who does not have sex, but it is a female who is unto herself, who is a priestess, who she doesn't need to be completed by anything outside of her because she's self-sourcing and self-resourcing. And it's also the Grain Mother series, the abundance of life. It's an earth sign. So the energy is about this, the bounty and the abundance of feeling life and feeling nurturing and healed, right, by the herbs like apothecaries are, and the grains, etc. So speaking of which, I was noticing, or what I was tuning into was Peacock medicine today. So what I've noticed is that Peacock is a symbol, and the symbol it's a very high animal totem because it's, Krishna wears a peacock feather, and I read this story doing research for these intuitions that I was getting, and it was all about how the peacock is very selfless because the peacock eats the poisonous plants, and through the poison, and is akin to a bodhisattva. The bodhisattva who does not seek pleasure for sensation gratification or sense gratification of desires, but instead transmutes that energy to serve the whole, or to achieve moksha, to achieve liberation. So the story of the peacock is that the peacock will eat the poisonous plants and then turn the poison into beauty, which is represented by their awesome plumage and their feathers. My cat is now eating this peacock feather. Come here, honey. Bringing it back to that symbol of purity and Virgo and the shift that we're all recently experiencing. What I would like to bring your awareness to is this medicine that can come from purging. And I've noticed in my own spirit and being, it's, we get these purges, and like, which means a buildup of energy, and a buildup of energy that is shadow emotions or just unhealthy ways of thinking or consciousness, but they're either programmed beliefs, karmic beliefs, limiting self beliefs, things that we have been built up in our system. And then what happens is sometimes becomes so overwhelming that that's just all that you are, is this buildup of these beliefs. And then all of a sudden there's this healing, this energy shifts, and like you transmute that poison, right? That poison rises to the surface, and there's a purge of it, and then all of a sudden it's clear. And that's what I feel this full moon in Virgo is representing, is this time of clarity and this time of purification through transmuting your poisons, through transmuting and really recognizing where you are transforming and transmuting the suffering, if you will, of your life into grace, into nourishment, and into beauty, so that you can have your feathers, your symbols of the wisdom that you, and the beauty and the being, having gone through something. Because we don't honor in our culture, I was just talking about this yesterday, and this is a longer blog for another time. We don't honor in our culture and give space to when we're in deep cycles of transformation. We want in the New Age community to always be accelerating and doing and high vibing and etc. But like, there are really deep times on the path where we're integrating lessons, and those poisons are everywhere around us, and we must really be in reverence for each other in that way during that time, during those times. I think it's very, very important that we do that for each other more often than we do, because it's like we're not wanting to get any other people suffering on us or something, that it's icky. But like, that real medicine, this is an earring I made a very long time ago. There are different parts of the peacock feather too. It's like the wings, and then this part is the top. So these are all peacock. But really, like, being aware, I'll put it there, that all parts of us, all parts of our journey, our path, acknowledging that that's what gives us wisdom, and that sometimes that we have to transmute poison in order to come through it. And then we get to share our medicine with the world. And we can't rush the process. So you can't like jump out when you're still transmuting. That process is so beautiful if we allow it to be, and hold space for each other when we're in those times, and acknowledge when we're in inner cycles and it's not time to share the medicine, and acknowledge when we're still transmuting those lessons. So I had a beautiful conversation with my friend Deborah yesterday, who's a sister in a priestess sisterhood called Ritual, actually, that I'm very grateful to be a part of, and I'm very grateful for that medicine. And we were talking about that yesterday. So shout out to her, and shout out to all the sisters of medicine, and may we all transmute all of the poison into medicine for the collective and the good of the whole. So, aho, purification, purity, poison into medicine. Thank you so much for joining me for a full moon transmission. May you be very blessed, and may you purify everything you need to for this time, so that you can give your grace and your beauty to the world. Aho. And if you're still purifying, always pray. And that's my lesson that I've learned for sure. So happy full moon, and may you be blessed at this time. Aho.